Welcome to The Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield. More and more financial services companies around the world are going digital. Or most of them say they're going digital, but do they even have the vaguest idea of what that means? A man called Moshe Tamir was recently at the Discovery Financial Planning Summit. He is the global head of digital transformation at Generali, one of the big insurance companies in Europe. And you guys have actually done a lot of work in terms of automation, digitization of an old world insurance business.
Yeah, so traditionally Generali is a 185 years old company with the old legacies, massive distribution channel and a lot of clients. And digital came and we wanted to see how we're leveraging some of our existing assets into the digital space.
I mean, so many startup companies have got it easy because they start up from a base, they've got one computer system and they do something fantastic. You've had to take 185 years of legacy, probably the last 30 years of legacy computer systems across different jurisdictions, countries, cultures, and now digitize an old school business. I mean, how big of a deal has it been?
So we are still in the process. Work has not been done yet.
Well, it won't ever be done. Sure.
I think on the digital space you are continuously doing. One of the things in Generali we believe in is the power of partnership. So the same like we partner in Discovery to introduce our products in Europe, we do believe in partnership with experts. So in some areas when we see that we don't have the skills, we don't have the knowledge, we look outside. Usually the whole fintech, insurtech ecosystem has a lot to offer to insurers. Some people may consider it as a competition, but we try to leverage and harness some of their capabilities into our core assets.
You used some great examples, and there was one called Lemonade. Tell me about Lemonade. People are getting very excited about this business called Lemonade.
So this is a competitor.
Okay.
So Lemonade.
It's good that you can talk about your competitors, though. It's very liberating.
So I think the interesting thing about Lemonade is a company, maybe 1.5 years old. They set up a whole end-to-end value proposition in insurance currently in the States, fully on mobile. The interesting thing for us as insurer is not whether they will compete with us or not on our core business. The thing that they have put very high standards of customer experience in insurance. And personally, I love it because then it's really triggers us to see, do we really serve our customers in the mobile age? And those companies, although in some area might be considered as competitors, I think helps our transformation.
It certainly does. I mean, you showed a video of these guys where a typical customer interaction on a mobile device. It's quick, it's instantaneous. There is a person on the other side. This isn't a computer making a decision, but the person's asking a question, the feedback is given, a document is provided, the invoice of I know you spilled coffee on your Apple Mac or whatever the case might be. And says, yes, you are insured for that. That's the price you paid for. Here's the invoice. The price now is this. Here is your insurance payment. And it's practically instantaneous. I mean, that's a miracle, isn't it, in the world of insurance?
That's a miracle when you look at it from an insurance perspective. Yeah. But when you look from customer perspective, not comparing their expectation in insurance, but comparing other experiences that they do have when they want a taxi through Uber, or when they book an hotel, or they get a doctor online, from their perspective, especially from the younger population perspective, that's the base.
But this is normal. This is the new normal. I mean, people talk about a new normal all the time. It's instantaneous. And the moment one lot doesn't offer it anymore, people aren't loyal to brands. I mean, Generali may be 185 years old, but you've got to give an experience that's fresh.
Exactly. And especially in embracing new technologies, once you use it, it's really difficult to go back. Yeah. So we believe in Generali that we need to catch up on that one.
But is it about the technology that's making the difference, or is it about the mental attitude? Because I understand that this Lemonade was set up by a behavioral economist and a fintech company. So it's taking human nature, human interaction. So often we think of digital as being sort of something that happens in the fourth industrial revolution that's not a human experience at all. But it is. It's about appealing to our very core humanity.
Yes, and this is a very interesting point because you cannot look at technology or digital as a standalone. When Uber came up with their solution, actually they have a technology piece, but in reality they solve a problem of people that wants to move from one place to another. They didn't look only on the transportation piece. They look what you do before you transport and what you do after you transport and they really remove all the frictions and the all-over experience. I think Lemonade are doing it quite nice in terms of solving people end-to-end, not only through technology, but through very important problems of conceptually why people are not insured for.
Now, again, insurance, the old adage of insurance is sold, not bought. It's useful to have somebody come and sit across the table and say, the reason you need these 5 insurances is for these 5 possible outcomes. Can tech fill that space? It can't knock on your door or wake you up in the middle of the night. I suppose you could with an alarm, but to actually get you to make the commitment to insurance, because selling insurance is a hard business.
So from my perspective, this is exactly where we can combine technology and human. Because even today, financial advisors that spend a lot of time with customers, if you analyze the real time that they're spending with the customers, a lot of the time is just bureaucratic documentation, things that algorithms and software can do better. If you will free them up from that and allow them to really focus on financial advisory, that could help.
Yeah, and then also when it comes to investments, there's a fabulous new business called El Toro, is it?
eToro.
eToro, the bull. It's about investments, but that's sort of crowdfunding financial advice. Now, for financial advisors, this must be terrifying because you might be a great investor and you've got 12 months of track record of earning 20% growth across the market. I like the way you do things. I can simply follow what it is that you're doing on my mobile phone and copy you.
So I think this is where technology democratizes access. So traditionally, a lot of the financial advisors and other intermediate business were very much undemocratized, so they had the control. Through technology, through social media, everyone can really be very transparent, and if you are a good investor, people can see it very easily, can start track you and start follow you. So that's the whole logic of the physical world, but democratizing access globally. So I don't have to be limited only for the people from my neighborhood, because if there is somebody in India, somebody in Johannesburg, or somebody in Milan who is really good, I just start to follow him.
It's finally a use for social media. So it could be somebody who's got a Twitter presence or somebody who's got a Facebook profile. And again, how do regulators respond to this? Because suddenly, a little bit like Uber doesn't get universal acceptance in every city it goes to. There's pushback from the local taxi industry. I can imagine financial advisors smashing mobile phones in frustration.
So I think regulation is interesting because a lot of the time we try to think that from regulation is a barrier for innovator. I think that if you look in financial services, sometimes regulators are a driver for innovation. By putting some limitations, some requirements on transparency, the only way to move from transparency into clarity, into very, very strict methodologies is through digital. So in some point of time, I think regulators will really understand that technology and layers of technology on existing businesses could really foster innovation.
5 years from now, do people still matter in investments and insurance?
Yeah, I think again, when we talk about digital, we have to look at different steps. So probably the full robo-advisory services, which are end-to-end solution, will fit some proportion of the population. The other one will fit the other generation. But let's not forget that in 15 to 20 years, the money will move from one generation to the other one.
And you've got to be ready for it.
Yes.
Moshe Tamir, thanks very much. He is with Generali as their Chief Technology Officer, a man who is looking at ways of making sure that technology and old school insurance companies and investment companies meet somewhere in the middle. This has been The Moneymakers. My thanks to you for watching. And don't ignore digital. Don't be frightened by digital. Digital simply is another way of making your business a lot more efficient, a lot more effective, and takes all the boring bits away, for now at least anyway. Thank you for watching The Moneymakers. Till next time. Bye-bye.